Let me ask you this. Have you ever received a piece of wisdom that changed your life? I did. And I got it from, of all places, a fortune cookie. After enjoying a succulent Chinese meal at one of my favorite restaurants in Mason City, aptly named Walk and Roll, fantastic name, I remember getting that small fortune cookie, cracking it open, and reading what my fortune had in store for me. And it went something like this: The foolish cling tightly to expectations. The wise allow free surprises. And of course, being 13 years old and sitting with that, I immediately decided to test it out by telling our waiter that only the foolish cling tightly to expectations, like paying the bill. But the why allow for free surprises. It did not work. But many years later, and learning that each piece of wisdom has its time and its place, I suspect that those disciples traveling on Emmaus learned that same piece of wisdom. That only the foolish cling tightly to expectations. Now, in today's gospel, Cleopas and his unnamed companion, they're on the road, leaving Jerusalem, heading to Emmaus. Why? Well, just as the 11 core disciples of Jesus are all hiding out in Jerusalem, waiting for the heat to die down, Cleopas and his companion, they're getting out of Dodge. They're getting as far away from Jerusalem as they can. And understandably, being on the road, being on the run, they're a little bit anxious, concerned. And they're talking with one another about the struggles that they have endured this past week, about seeing Jesus be arrested, tortured, tried, and executed, all publicly. So with all that anxiety bubbling up in them, what does Christ do but appear right behind the two of them, in disguise, and asking them, "Hey, what are you talking about?" Well, Cleopas has every right to be a little indignant, more than a little concerned. He does not know what will happen to him. He does not know if he is in the crosshairs of the temple authorities or the Roman soldiers. He does not know if he is about to be betrayed, just as Judas had betrayed Jesus a few days before. But Cleopas, he takes a gamble and decides to tell this stranger, this foreigner in his own eyes, all that has happened with Jesus. He relates how they and the rest of the disciples had hoped that Jesus would be the Messiah, the one to redeem all of Israel. And redeem Israel from what? But the powers that had long kept the Israelites down. For they had heard about all the things that the Messiah was prophesied to do from the ancient prophets. That the Messiah would lift up the lowly and bring down the mighty and powerful. That the Messiah would drive out all of the foreign invaders, those Romans, along with all of their taxes, their oppression, their slavery, the death that they wrought. They had hoped that Jesus, being the Messiah, would be the one to also bring down those corrupt Jewish authorities that had long persecuted the people of Israel. all in the name of satisfying their own self-righteous greed and desire for power. Because at the end of the day, the disciples had hoped that Jesus was finally proof that God was truly walking amongst God's chosen people and making them feel like the chosen people again. But what happened? Jesus got arrested. He got tortured. He got tried. Everyone saw it. And he got executed. And then he was buried. Nobody comes back from that. Nobody can overcome that. And now, at the long last, 3 days later, there's still no Jesus. And all that Cleopas and his companion have to go off of is a story of the women saying that his body isn't in the tomb? That's not much hope, is there? The expectation he would arise and start casting out all of the evils that had plagued society. But here Cleopas was, going on the run. Talk about a bummer. But that's when Jesus reveals the truth of what the Messiah is. That the Messiah, who is Jesus Christ, does not come to liberate God's chosen people with glorious revolutions and armed forces. No. Jesus liberates by going to the cross and dying, so that death has finally lost its sting for you and for me. Jesus breaks bread with strangers, showing that poverty, starvation, and division can truly one day be broken if we are open to it. Jesus demonstrates to Cleopas and his companion that love can truly exist between foreigner and the in crowd, but only if they are willing to take a chance, to open their hearts, to love, to be graceful, and to forgive when there is error. For so long, the Israelites had wanted to see God's power unfold in spectacular images, in public displays. But in truth, God's power is revealed in the humblest of acts of fellowship, compassion, and love. A reversal of those expectations that had so tightly ingrained themselves into the hearts of the disciples. And in that humblest of moment, in sharing food, the world changes all over again for Cleopas. And he sees Christ again. And he sees and recognizes that God truly is walking amongst him and this world, alive and well. So ask yourself this question. Today, whose expectations are you clinging tightly to? Whose expectations are you fulfilling right now? When you read the news or turn on the TV and you hear people talking about war and celebrating human suffering and how division is rocking the nations, do you go along with it? Do you ask yourself, who is God calling us to be in this moment? Are you being called to stand up and speak out against it? Or do you remain silent? Do you take the road that Cleopas is walking? The road of self-safety, the the road of assuring that you will make it one more day. When you are encouraged to be all that you can be in this world, to have the most money, the most power, the most fame, the most prosperity, whose expectations are you fulfilling? Are you truly giving out of your abundance? Are you truly sharing in fellowship with one another if you hoard only for yourself and look out for you and you alone? Or is God calling for you to take a chance, to open your hearts, to be willing to try a new thing, to take a gamble that love truly does exist in this world, and that the stranger, the foreigner, that strange individual who you have never met before might just in fact be God walking amongst you? Ask yourself, this system that we find ourselves in, of fear, of anger, of pain, of sorrow, who benefits from it? Have you? I'm seeing a lot of stone faces. Can we be wise enough to allow for free surprises? Or will we continue to be foolish, to cling tightly to someone else's expectation? That we'll just go along, be quiet, sit down, shut up, only care about what you need, not about your neighbor, not about the person who is oppressed, not about the person who is the stranger? Or can we trust that God truly does live and move amongst us here, now, in this place, in this time, loving, caring, and being open to one another, to loving the unlovable, to caring for those who no one else cares about, and to welcoming those who have long since been ignored? In doing that, we see God walking amongst us, the Messiah coming this day and forevermore. Amen. Our song of the day is Graves into Garden, led by our worship band, and you're invited to